When we join a call to cancel someone, it can feel like we're just sticking up for what's right. But what if there's more going on psychologically than just seeking justice? What if some of our reasons for the desire to cancel someone are less about them and more about us? Sometimes what feels like just behaviour is shaped by motives that we're not really that aware of. And if we were aware of these motives, then we might choose to act differently. When we think that someone has broken the norms of our community, be it political, cultural, or even fandom, calling them out on it can feel like we're defending our values. But often it's more about defending our identity. Social identity theory argues that we define ourselves based on our group membership. So when someone behaves in a way that we perceive as being threatening to one of our group memberships, we also tend to take this as an attack on our personal identity. At this point, cancelling that person becomes less about justice and more about self-preservation. So before you jump on a call to cancel someone, ask yourself, am I actually standing for something that I personally believe in here? Or am I just standing with my group because it feels good? Why do some posts that call for a cancellation go viral so quickly? Well, it's partly due to the fact that moral outrage can feel pretty good, and social media platforms tend to reward it. Moral foundations theory explains how emotional reactions such as anger and disgust have evolved to protect our social groups. Research has indicated that expressing emotional outrage online has a performative component. In other words, we use it to signal our virtue and gain social currency. So when we consider jumping on a call to cancel someone, we need to reflect on whether our motivation might be as much about enhancing our own reputation as addressing some kind of injustice. Remember that if you're feeling high or particularly powerful in contributing to a call for someone to be cancelled, that's your cue to pause and reflect rather than just hit post. Have you ever felt a deep sense of discomfort or maybe even betrayal when someone you admired does or says something that you fundamentally disagree with? These feelings are often the product of cognitive dissonance. In other words, holding two conflicting thoughts at the same time. On the one hand, you like and admire the person, but on the other hand, you certainly don't like or admire something that they've said or done. In these kind of instances, it can be much easier just to reject someone completely than figure out a more nuanced and balanced way to resolve the conflict between liking the person but not liking an instance of their behaviour. So before you jump on a call to cancel someone, ask yourself, am I protecting my values or am I just protecting myself from feeling conflicted? Social media isn't just a mirror, it's a classroom. Every viral call out, every outrage-filled tweet is a lesson on what gets attention. It's a basic principle of psychology that we're more likely to imitate behaviour that we see rewarded. When it comes to research on social media, it's the posts that express moral outrage, that use emotional language, and that signal virtue that are significantly more likely to go viral. The lesson we're getting from all of this, consciously or unconsciously, is that if we want attention, a reliable way of getting it is to make posts that express moral outrage and righteousness. So before you join in a call to cancel someone, ask yourself, am I really trying to effect a positive change in society here, or just a positive change in my presence and recognition on social media? Have you ever found yourself writing something to someone online that you probably wouldn't have said to them face to face? If so, this is an example of the online disinhibition effect. And this means that when we're anonymous and less likely to be held accountable for what we say and do, we're much more likely to act and speak without restraint. Online disinhibition isn't always a bad thing. But combine it with a toxic posting environment, as is often the case where there's a call to get someone cancelled, and the results are seldom positive. For example, research has indicated that if you enter into an online environment where hostile posting is the norm, you're much more likely to make hostile posts yourself. Sometimes thinking you should contribute to a call to cancel someone has less to do with your personal values and more to do with the online environment you happen to find yourself in. So before posting, ask yourself, is this really what I believe, or am I just echoing the tone of the environment I'm in? It's important to recognise that cancellation isn't solely about holding other people accountable. It's also about signalling values, protecting identity and regulating emotion. If we don't recognise this, then we risk becoming overly reactive, performative and even cruel towards others whose behaviour or words we might disagree with. Pause before posting. Ask yourself, am I adding more insight or just more noise? Stay curious. Instead of asking, who's the villain, ask, what's the full story here? Remember that sound bites aren't life stories. Don't judge a person by a headline. Notice your emotional highs. If you feel fired up, that's when you most need to slow down and reflect. Be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next video.